Good morning from the greenhouse. Have not done an update in a while, but as you can see, it's getting crazy. Isn't that beautiful? It's beautiful. Alright, so I know it's been a little bit since I did an update, but I was starting to feel like wasn't a whole lot happening, so I waited for a little while. So what has been going on is since my last update, I have amended the soil in all the beds and all the containers outside, and I plan on doing another round the first week of June just to get prepared for the summer heat. My understanding is that you should not be doing a lot of fertilizing during the heat, so the best thing to do is to keep the soil healthy and amend it. So this is the bed in the greenhouse, and as you can see, the green beans are getting obnoxious and kind of growing everywhere, and so is the nasturtiums, and these strawberries have been moved in the greenhouse for a very good reason, which I will show here in just a second. But it's the time of the year where that browning of the leaves is a little normal because it's so hot. So I'm probably going to prune them back and just let them kind of rest and go dormant here in the greenhouse. It was looking worse than that when it was in the same spot that I had it in before. Right now the container is situated in the northeast corner of the greenhouse. When I moved it, I had it over there sitting in that black container, which is the southwest corner of the greenhouse. But those containers will be where the Egyptian spinach is going. So if you have been around for a few of my videos, I actually attempted to start Egyptian spinach early in spring, and it was probably a little too cold for them. So they died back, and I think something also nibbled them off as well. And so they just been in here in the greenhouse, and those are seedlings. So I think these are probably ready to be transplanted. Yep, they are. We got some roots coming out of the bottom. So that's usually when I start things in smaller containers, I usually wait until I can see roots trying to come out. That lets me know it's a good system, and then I'll transplant. I would try 2 different varieties of amaranth, and that one didn't do a whole lot, so maybe I'll try again. Not 100% sure, but this one is doing pretty good, so now I just have to decide where they're going to go. I also decided to move the Mexican sunflower seedling inside of the greenhouse. This is my very first time doing Mexican sunflower, but it gets big and bushy, my understanding, and about 5 to 6 feet. So since moving it in the greenhouse, it actually has started to look better and started to grow better. These were the okra seedlings, the last 2 that were actually transplanted, and what's interesting is this one is not doing as great as that one. So we shall see. I'm also most likely going to move the mint. This was also over by the beds, and it started to look a little unhealthy. Still, it's looking like it's popping back, most likely from this humidity in the greenhouse. But back to over here. Just wow. I just had a little bit of a emotional moment where I actually just sat here and just cried and thanked God for his goodness, because I mean, I've wanted to grow tomatoes inside the greenhouse for 2 seasons. This is my 3rd attempt, and I'm looking like I'm having some success. I think I can attribute this to this microclimate that's happening around the tomatoes. There's a lot going on here. Now you can't even tell what's in it anymore, so I'm going to have to point some things out. The beets are still in. Some of them anyway. They weren't quite ready just yet. So these are my golden boys, and they still get nibbled by some bugs and caterpillars. So I have to come out pretty regularly and look for bugs and caterpillars. The spiders have gotten bigger and they've increased, but I found out that they're wolf spiders, so they're the good guys. And I also have seen more moths. So moths are not necessarily a bad thing. They are our nighttime pollinators, kind of similar to what we would expect with a bee or a butterfly. So they're not the worst thing in the world. It's their babies. They like to munch. And so I just have to come out and I have to check several times a day. The beds, everything got sprayed with BT 2 days ago. So the munching has seemed to calm down. All right. These are African marigolds. And I must say I like these better than the little teeny tiny marigolds, because they get bigger. Look how tall this is in comparison to the cage. And they get multiple flowers on them. So I must say I like these better. I'm probably going to go with these more. The bugs are starting to munch the green bean plants. Not the worst thing in the world. I got some green beans off of them, which for me was good because this was the first time I've ever been able to grow green beans. But they're starting to munch on those, and as you can see, they're not looking the healthiest. But at this point, it's more about ensuring that the soil is nice and covered so it's not drying out really quick, and adding nitrogen to the soil. So anything with beans, peas, they're nitrogen fixers. All right, so let me kind of move here a little bit. The red Detroit beets, I have not harvested them yet, and as you see, they are still getting nibbled. But I wanted to give them more time because they weren't quite ready yet. But the exciting news, y'all, that is a lemon cucumber, if I'm not mistaken, because now I can't remember whether that was lemon cucumber or the alpha B8. Pretty sure it was lemon. But as you can see, that cucumber plant is doing pretty good. Pretty good. Also starting to flower. More exciting news. Look at that cherry tomato baby. We about to get some lovelies. So for those that don't know, that's what I call my cherry tomato plants, lovelies. My lovelies was the first time that I tried growing tomatoes. It was in my first time gardening, and I grew cherry tomato plants, and them babies got about 4 feet wide, 9 feet tall, and I called them lovelies. And they did great even through the winter until we got a cold snap and it took them out. So we getting lovelies. Look at that. I have been nerding out quite a bit, and I have discovered something that would be called oh man, now my mind just drew a blank. But anyway, gap pollination. I'll look up the more technical term here in just a little bit. But basically, this is letting things like our lettuce, our herbs, things that would normally grow during the colder months, letting them go and bolt. This is bolting when they start to go to flower because it attracts pollinators. So been watching a lot of documentaries, and our pollinator presence is diminished because of us. And so whatever we can do as gardeners to let them know that, hey, you can come and you can have food. That is food for them. You come get it. And so I've been seeing more bees, not a whole lot, but more than I had seen. And they're starting to visit hornets, just all types of little things that we would normally want not to be here have been visiting. So that is my basil Remember I said me and Basil, we got an interesting relationship. Sometimes we do good, sometimes we don't. But right now we're doing good. This is still the chard being nibbled off. I'm not really pressed on it. It's just a nice little microclimate for the tomato and the cucumber. And this greenhouse has been getting somewhere upward 110 degrees inside, even with the fans, and everything is doing good. I have not harvested the scallops yet, so as y'all see, they still down there. And there's the onions that are over there. I'm trying to remember what else was in this bed. There is some thyme over there somewhere, but it's all covered up. And the chamomile is still trying to make it. All right, so that's the greenhouse. Let's take a walk. So, rosemary is still doing good. And this is echinacea. I'm very proud of myself because this is my first time keeping rosemary alive. I usually kill it. Right. So this was the lettuce. And see? Letting it bolt. And dill. Just let it bolt. It's time to harvest some zinnias. This is oregano, and I put a soaker hose on this bed. And I purchased some marigold seedlings, and then I waited too long to sow them. So I'm trying to see if I can get them to pop back to life. Basically what I did is I just clipped all the flowers off of them and been watering them pretty heavy to see if I can get them to come back to life. Pretty sure that one might make it. That one is a no-go. So failure is part of gardening. The good news is I've also cleaned this bed quite a bit. So notice I pulled all the leaves off the stalks of the lettuce to give this where I can see it. So this is ginger. And ginger. And this was just me cutting pieces of ginger and putting it in the soil, and let's see what happens. Ginger. Yep, so all of these are lettuce, just letting it go to flower. All right. So some more craziness. Look at Big Boy. Isn't that crazy? So we harvested our first tomatoes off of him a couple days ago, and if you notice here, he got plenty more happening. So I learned that tomatoes do not ripen on the vine when the temperatures are above 90 degrees, and they have been here for a while. So Big Boy in full sun is getting down. This is the other lovely. So this is an entirely different tomato plant. That's the seedling that I started. These are the Texas cherry tomatoes that I got from Native Seed. And I also realized that nothing really makes it in that spot. So even the second time that I tried to put a cucumber there, it didn't make it. So I left it alone. Don't know what I'm going to put there, but something will go. I think all of these tomatoes are just robbing all the moisture. So I'm letting that lettuce go to flower. That is arugula. See how it's dropping seed. Oregano, still doing good. Letting lettuce go to flower. Some zinnias. This is my Armenian cucumber baby, and it is officially grabbing and starting to climb. And this is even more leafage than yesterday. So before you know it, this will be climbing all the way up, which is kind of my goal. These two okra plants have already started to give me pods, so this is the second one. We harvested one off this one the other day, and it gave me a second flower a couple days ago, so that's an okra pod developing. So they're doing good. And this is the Alpha B8 cucumber. And I was really happy yesterday because that's the first presence of a female flower there. Now, if my research serves me well, and I'm understanding things well. See this moth? A spider must have got him. Sorry for that tangent. But if I'm understanding things well with my research, alpha B8s are self-pollinating, meaning they don't need male-female pollination. And my understanding is this eventually will start producing more females than males, and it gets pretty prolific. I didn't know that when I purchased it, but we shall see. Probably gonna have to help this grab, because that's kind of what I want you to do. I want you to grab. And I'm pretty proud of myself, y'all, because when I was a little girl, I was actually afraid of moths, and they don't even faze me now. So this is what I mean by the African marigold. Look how big they get. I'm gonna have to try to get in there some way to get that off. Marigolds keep producing if you deadhead them, meaning snipping off the spent leaves. Same thing with zinnias. If you want your zinnias to just keep going, make sure you're deadheading frequently. So I'll have to come out today and do that. Obnoxious, I think he's done. He hasn't grown anymore beyond that. So he's giving me his last little burst of life. All right. So some more amazing things. That cucumber plant is officially, that is not a word, officially growing and grabbing all into here, which is what I hope for. And then that one is also grabbing. So it's doing good. And it's giving me my first burst of males. And the point of cucumbers and other cucurbit plants doing that is that they give this burst of male flowers on purpose at the beginning so that pollinators get curious and they start to come around. So another lovely. Just look how tall it's getting. And it's enjoying its little microclimate. That is the parsley and the oregano. And I unfortunately came out here and got crazy and just dumped a bunch of soil down right on top of my marigolds. And so they kind of covered, but oh well. Probably just gonna start some African marigold seeds indoors or in the greenhouse. Well, I could probably do it in the greenhouse now because it just gets warm enough in there. And just start some so they get tall. So what I also wanted to show about tramp planting. So all this little black stuff you see on this deal, those are aphids. So they have basically decided that's where they want to go, which is not the worst thing in the world. Now I still have to come and spray this deal down with a little just plant-based dish soap and water, and then wash it down to kill some of the aphids also. It doesn't completely kill it, but they are everywhere. Like this plant is literally covered in aphids. But look, nothing else is. So that's what you want. Dill grows really good with tomatoes, but that was kind of the point in doing that. So I was pretty proud of myself with that. I got a little worried about the Tempari beans. I didn't think they were going to do anything, and then I started to notice their growing behavior. They just get really, they just go everywhere. I'll show you one over in the other bed in a little bit. But this was the Space Master cucumber. I was going to pull it, and then that started to happen. So I was like, we'll leave it alone. See what it does. Anaheim pepper plant. Starting to get a little bigger. Something I learned. Peppers don't start doing anything until midsummer, I read or heard or something. I don't know. I'm going to have to do something with this tomato plant, though, because it's getting a little willy-nilly, but I haven't decided yet. So again, just letting the basil go. This watermelon has gotten big enough where I had to just use a mask to support it and hold it up. So this is what I think this is the French marigold, I think. But that's what they start to look like before they get really big. And I might move one or two of these over in that bed. Might. All right. So this is the other bed, and this just caught my attention this morning. So I don't know how that got pollinated. It's not growing the prettiest. So that's most likely some sort of nutrient issue. But that's the poinsettia, and I was going to pull it because I didn't think it was going to do anything. And then this morning, I see that. So I'm just going to leave it alone. My celosia flowers are starting to, I started those from seed. And I'll show you what they look like when they're full grown. Yeah, see that, that cucumber plant over there. I didn't even notice until now. There's a few flowers under there. So what I'm learning about myself, because I'm a helicopter plant parent, when I leave things alone, sometimes they do better. All right, so the reason that we moved the strawberry, because we got plant babies. That is a peach tree plant baby, and that is an avocado tree plant baby. The avocado tree plant baby, they get sunburned really easy because their foliage is green, so you will be getting a little shade structure before the day is up. But the peach baby is a desert gold peach. When we went and looked at the peach baby, it had more peaches on it, but the birds got to it at the nursery. But that one feels ready. It's nice and tender. But it is a desert gold peach. So we got that. And that is why this area is moved. It's exciting. All right. So that is what celosia flowers look like when they're ready to go. So I have to get them moved and deadhead the rest of these and get them moved. But I did get some transplanted. And these strawberries are right here, and I'm gonna have to find a different spot for them. Most likely over there on that side of the greenhouse because it's just getting too hot. And yesterday, my first Beck's Gardenville okra flower emerged. So we're getting our first pod. Won't be too big, but I'll wait till it gets a little bit bigger so I can show y'all the difference in the look. This was one of the last ones that got transplanted, and it got pretty big pretty quickly. My hollyhocks are still trying, and this whole wildflower experiment on this edge is not working out. So there's that. All right. Tempari beans. So they do this, which, this was part of the reason why I grew them, because my research from her name is Angela, growing in the garden. She has her garden here in Mesa. I watch her quite a bit. But she recommended growing Tempari with okra because they do this. They would climb the plant. So not only do they fix the nitrogen, they will cover your soil. You want to try to do as much as you can to get the soil covered. So I'm a little shocked because this bed, look at that. Every time I come out here, I'm like, this is crazy. Now notice the alyssum flowers are over here. Just spent these. Look at that. I'm telling you, every time I come over here, even my snapdragons, they just keep going. So the second okra plant, because remember one died, this is the one that got, so it's not getting as big as the other one, but that's okay, because I want to be able to harvest okra through the season. But this is just crazy to me. Like, I literally thought it wasn't gonna do anything. Again, letting the parsley boat. But look, just crazy. So I'm thinking over here I must have put some French marigolds, because they still get bigger, but like they don't get these little teeny tiny, but they didn't get here. But still, I like the combination of the three, so I'm gonna start going with that. All right, so what other updates? I think that's all I got. Oh, there was one more. I was getting worried about my black eyed peas. And now that it's warm, they like, we doing it. We doing it. So yeah, I think that's all that I have. Be patient with yourself gardening. You're gonna have some first times. Like, this is my first time ever doing cantaloupe, ever. You're gonna have some first time experiences. You're not gonna get this stuff. I said I was gonna pull this squash plant. I haven't done it. Things are gonna look dying and browned back like I killed marigolds. They were like, nope. I realized marigolds in these little trays with alyssum, not a good idea, because the alyssum just takes over. And the trays also just don't stay wet enough. Lots of extra watering. I believe I have overcome my tendency to overwater. Maybe. Just, if they look stressed, just notice, and it's just the heat, but just give them a little bit. But if you, like, see that Tempari going across that trellis, that's what they do. And I literally thought, this thing ain't gonna do nothing, and it did. It's new for me. Sorry, I'm being very tangential, but this is the reality. I am gonna come out today and harvest some arugula and have a little arugula and some strawberries today, just to taste it. Haven't tasted my own arugula yet. I'm also learning about borage. I thought that borage was gonna die, and it's popping out. All right, so we got new babies, and this is the progress. with the currant babies. So keep growing. Keep growing. Be patient. Accept the failure. And continue to be marveled. Because when I tell you, like, look at this. Look at this. It is everywhere. I don't know if I was supposed to give it some support or what. I think I was. I don't know. I might end up taking these and putting them over there. Now, I did put Tempari in this too, and it didn't make it. The cow peas or black eyed peas made it. The Tempari didn't. So they say full sun, but clearly they prefer some shade. All right. So that is the update. Bro. We're gonna have to Jedi mind trick you, maybe put a clip. All right, y'all. That is my update. My sissy gonna be mad at me because I'd never transplanted the milkweed, but I didn't have anywhere for it to go. All right, y'all. I think that's all I got. Garden life is good. It is so good. Yeah. Go play in the dirt.